So thank you so much, Mr. Patrick, for joining us in today's live stream class. It's good to have you. I
Thank you
can see
very
that
much
you
for
are.
inviting me.
I can see you looking good. As in, life is really good with you. Okay, so while we wait for others to join the class, I'll just pretty much let's just do a quick introduction. So my name is Austin. I'm the founder of My Sparklight. So what is My Sparklight? It's a marketing community where people or marketers or anyone seeking to improve or help others become better in marketing can naturally commune, discuss, and share ideas on how we can help each other become better in what we do in our everyday life, either as a business owner or as a marketing entrepreneur or as an employee working for a company. It really doesn't matter. It's just all about helping each other, helping one another become better in what we do in our day-to-day activities or in everything that concerns us, that is an idea or business. So in today's class, the topic we're going to be discussing is building a go-to market strategy for your brand. So which is product marketing. So we have our guest speaker here in the name of Patrick Ndofo. Permit me if
Different.
I'm not doing damage to the name, but forgive me for this. You still call
Yeah,
the proper name. So,
yeah, no
Patrick
problem.
Mindolfo is going to give us a biography of himself so our audience can know who you are and, just tell us more about yourself. Let's get to know you before we jump into the class proper. So, you have
All
the
right,
floor, Patrick.
thank you so much, Mr. Austin. So, my name is Patrick Ndifon. So I get a lot of people sometimes they get the name wrong a bit, but it's fine. So, I'm Patrick Ndifon. I'm from Cross River State, Nigeria. I am a product manager, and I'm also a startup and SME coach. I help startups and SMEs. And I'm also working towards building the Cross River State entrepreneurial ecosystem. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I do. I have a couple of businesses I run. I have a nonprofit that I work with, that I founded. And yeah, I work for primarily, what I do for a living is I work as a product manager for a startup called Fresh to Carts. Fresh to Carts is focused on something called quick commerce, and what it does is that it helps users get access to groceries via an app and have the groceries delivered to them in under 20 minutes. Well, that's what we're trying to achieve, anyways. Yes, it's running here in Nigeria. Yeah, there's a whole lot about me, but I could go on and on and on and on. So, but my majors are basically product management, business development, IT, basically, and then startup SME consulting. That's around the things that I do. So
All
yeah.
right. Thank you so much, Patrick, for the brief overview. So if you want to have a private conversation with regards to your product or to your business ideas, you can talk to him. You can message him via his Instagram handle. So Patrick, you can tell us your Instagram handle so in case people want to reach out to you for contract or, do business or something like that, so they can easily reach out to you.
So it's at Hey PM in Different. I'm just going to type it into the chat box so anybody can see it. So you can reach me via Instagram there, or just go on LinkedIn. I think I'll share my LinkedIn profile as well. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. That's where the connections and money is coming in. So we need to be in that space. So you
That's
can
where the
reach out
money.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and chat me up there as well.
All right,
All
so
right.
let's bring right into the topic. So our today's topic, as we all know why we're here to learn from Mr. Patrick based from his experience in product management. Mr. Patrick has been doing this for over 10 years now. So if there's anybody that has a good understanding of what product management is, I think we have the right guy right here. So Mr. Patrick, you have the floor. So I think your session starts now.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Austin. I really appreciate this wonderful opportunity. and I have to say I admire the work that's been done at my Spotlight, building a community around marketing. I think it's something that's very much needed nowadays, because the world is becoming more and more um, progressing towards a very digital world. And to be honest, there's need for an understanding of what it takes to market products and services. So building a community allows the opportunity for people to share knowledge and experiences from different backgrounds. Yeah, today is a go-to-market strategy. My product management experience has not been 10 years. That's more like technology experience. So for product management, it's been since 2018. I have worked on several businesses, several startups as well. So it's more or less like 4 years. Yeah, I'll tell around 4 years. So March 2018 was when I started getting my hands more into building startups. Now, so we're talking about building a go-to-market strategy. Launching a product into a market is a big investment, all right? And no matter how cutting edge, how badass your product is, okay, the way you market and sell it, right, is very important. It's very important if you want to succeed. You can have a great product, and if you don't market it properly, right, that product can still fail. Partly because of visibility, or that you're marketing to the wrong audience, okay, or that the market that you're putting that product in is already saturated with a lot of competition and those kinds of things. So it's very, very important, right, that your go-to-market strategy, okay, you get it right, because it will ensure that you take everything into account. It will ensure that you avoid costly mistakes when you're launching your product into the market. Many times, right, when people are a lot of businesses, sometimes they don't take time to understand the market, and because they don't take time to understand the market, they get into making all kinds of decisions that don't end up giving them the results that they want. Before you launch a product into the market, you need to know who you're launching it for, where you're launching it, right? What are their pain points? What are their challenges, right? You need to know the kind of who else, what other solutions are in the market, and how big the problem that your product is going to solve, how big that problem is. Now, and this is something known as a product market fit, okay? This is something known as a product market fit, and the whole point of a product market fit is that you want to be sure that you are solving a problem that there's a massive demand for, or let me not say massive one, adequate demand for. I had taken down the definition, but let me just read that. It says, achieving product market fit means that, is there a market demand for what you're selling? Are people willing to pay for it because it's better than the alternative? Do you understand? So when you're putting your product in the market, you've got to be sure that, look, there's a demand for the solution that this your product is providing. Very important. So what is a product market strategy? A go-to-market strategy, rather. A go-to-market strategy is how a company, okay, brings a product to market, right? It is a step-by-step or comprehensive plan, okay, that a company would use to launch a product, right? So it's step-by-step. It's not just anyhow. It's well thought out. It's comprehensive. It's easy to understand, all right? And by that definition, it's clear that, look, you have to take your time to build this thing, okay? It's not something you're just going to rush off and then create. There's a rigorous process behind building a go-to-market strategy. The go-to-market strategy covers 4 critical areas. Okay, there are 4 questions it answers. First is it answers the issues around your product market fit. What product are you selling, right? What unique problem does it solve? Okay, what are you selling? What are you pushing on the market? What unique problem does it solve? Secondly, it answers the part of the target audience. Okay, who is the person you're selling this product to? What are the problems? Who are the people experiencing this problem that your product is solving? Who are they? Okay, because the purpose of the product, of the go-to-market strategy, right? Of the product that you're launching to the market is that it's going to solve a particular problem. So who are the people that are experiencing the problem that you're going to solve? Okay, are they willing to pay for the solution? And then what are the pain points, what are the frustrations that they are currently experiencing, because your product is going to address those pain points and those frustrations. Thirdly, the third area that the go-to-market strategy addresses is competition and demand. Okay, where will you sell your product? What's that market like? Who are the people that are offering similar products or alternatives in that particular market? Is there a demand? Okay, is the market saturated already, or is there a demand? Is there a gap that is missing in the market that your product can fill? All right, and then the last thing is distribution. So what are the mediums? What mediums are you going to market and sell your product in? All right. Is it going to be a website? Is it going to be a third-party app? How are you going to reach customers? How are you going to generate demand? So the 4 areas are product market fit. Okay, it's going to answer questions around your product market fit. It will answer questions around your target audience. It will answer questions about competition and demand. It will answer questions around distribution. So these four areas are critical parts that your go-to-market strategy has to address, because if you don't, then you're setting up yourself for failure. All right, and this is what a good go-to-market strategy addresses. Now, there's a go-to-market strategy, there's a marketing strategy. I just want to clarify those things, because I'm sure people might have questions like, okay, does a go-to-market strategy differ from a marketing strategy? Yes, it does. A go-to-market strategy is more focused on a singular product or service. So, and it's all about launching a product in the market. After the product is launched, your go-to-market strategy has ended. It's all about launching a product in market. It focuses on that singular product. That's what it does. But a marketing strategy is not just about a single product. It's about the entire brand itself. It's about the entire business. A go-to-market strategy is just a sub-part of a marketing strategy. So the marketing strategy focuses on how do you build brand awareness. Okay, how do you get customers to be part of your brand? And it's indefinite. There's always going to be a marketing strategy. There's always going to be a marketing strategy. But a go-to-market strategy has a particular timing, which we are going to look at next. So, which is when do you need a go-to-market strategy? There are 3 instances you need a go-to-market strategy. 1, when you're launching a new product in an existing market. For example, you're an established shoe brand, okay? You're a shoe business, and you're coming up with a new product line, maybe a new clothing line, for example, and you've been doing shoe, then you want to launch a new clothing line, then you need a go-to-market strategy, because you're launching a new product into an existing market, okay? Secondly, you're bringing an existing product to a new market. In this kind of situations is where you're probably expanding your market base. So you're producing shoes in Cross River, and you want to expand to Akwa Ibom, all right? So that is when you need a go-to-market strategy, because you're entering a new market entirely. You're taking an existing product that works in Cross River State, and you're entering another market in Akwa Ibom State. That's when you need a go-to-market strategy. Third time you need a go-to-market strategy is when you're launching a new product in a new market. So you're testing a new product in a new market. So you're a startup, you're a tech app, like a lot of people are building tech businesses these days. They have apps they want to launch. You need a go-to-market strategy to be able to test the new product in the new market that you're launching in. You want to test it first, all right? And why is this important? Look, things are changing, right? Markets change, okay? The forces of supply and demand are constantly changing. Consumer behavior is constantly changing. You can't say that, okay, because you launched so and so way 5 years ago or 2 months ago, it's going to be the same way you're going to launch a product now. No. There's constant change. There's a way that the world is described nowadays, and this is something that Harvard professors they call it VUCA, B-U-C-A, right? The world is a VUCA world, right? B is for volatility, U is for uncertainty, C is for complexity, and A is for ambiguity, right? Volatility in the sense that changes happen like that, bam. And then uncertainty means that you're not even sure, okay, what exactly has caused the change. You have to dig deep. The complexity as well means that there's a lot of things that could cause change. Sometimes it's not just one thing that's causing a change, it's multiple things. multiple things interacting together that's making certain things happen. And then ambiguity is not that straightforward. So you might think that, okay, look, the nail on the head is the solution, but it may not be that the nail on the head is the actual solution, right? It could be something else as the solution. So it's all of these things, right, makes market conditions very unpredictable, so to speak. And you can't say that, oh, the way we launched the product last is going to be the same way. I mean, we all saw what COVID-19 did, right? A lot of businesses had to completely reevaluate the way they were doing things, the way they were reaching out to customers, the way they were selling, and all of that stuff. Because why? There was a massive disruption, and nobody could predict, what was going to happen next. Even till date, people thought that, okay, after COVID would end, everybody would now go back to offices. But guess what? Remote work has taken over, and it's now becoming, it has now come to stay. So there's a lot of unpredictability. But here are some points that I listed out, okay, why a go-to-market strategy is important. It sets you up for growth. It sets you up to increase your potential for growing. Why? Because your focus, when you're developing a go-to-market strategy, it tells you to focus on the things that are going to work. So you know that, look, I'm launching my product in this place, through this channel, all right, for these people. Because you've done your research to find out that these are the people that want these things, right? This is a channel that works. So you're not just all over the place doing things here and there. You're more focused on stuff that you could start and then eventually scale, right? So, and this is, so that whole idea of focus, right, allows you to tackle this opportunity extensively, and you can take it from level 1 to level 100, right? Because of that particular kind of focus. Secondly, a go-to-market strategy allows you to reduce your risk, okay? And what do I mean by this? You're not wasting resources on every channel. You're not wasting resources on all kinds of customers, okay? You're not wasting resources on scenarios that will not work, because in essence itself, the go-to-market strategy is like an experimentation. So you've experimented and checked that, okay, look, this is where these things are going to work. This is what my customers are looking for. This is what their need is, right? It's a well-defined plan, okay, of who you're launching to, where you're launching, right? What you're launching with. So because of that, you're going to restrict your resources, okay, to those particular areas. So you save cost. You save cost. A real-life example was when we were trying to launch. So at Psychographically, we tried to launch an educational platform called FADI, Future Academy for Digital Innovation. So we're going to get content creators to create courses on different subject matters. And we didn't have the money to now, first of all, start creating all this content. And we needed to be sure, okay, what would be the most in-demand course, all right? Which course will be easier to do now, okay, so that we don't spend money that we don't have on doing multiple courses and not knowing which one is going to sell the more. And we did a very simple test. We did a survey. We asked people questions like, okay, if you were to rate what's more important to you right now, bam, what's the second most important, right? We asked them certain questions, and when we got the data, we got the feedback, we discovered that, okay, look, digital marketing was mostly in demand. That's what the market wanted, right? So we just focused all our resources on building it, on creating digital marketing content. And by creating that, we saw that whatever revenue we got from there, we could now take it as, okay, look, let's find out what the next most important course is, and then begin to increase from there. So our risk was reduced in the sense that we didn't do guesswork and say, okay, oh, let's go do development. And then we could have done that, and we discovered that, oh, nobody's interested in development now because probably they can't afford it or for whatever reason. So having a go-to-market strategy allows you to do risk, reduce your risk before you launch. Next, what it does is that if you're in a company, the go-to-market strategy would bring the company together on one particular course of action, one particular goal, one particular mission. So everybody knows that, okay, this is what we are launching. This is where we are launching to, right? These are the customers. This is the product. These are the value propositions of the product. I've seen situations where you find out that the company talks about one thing in their ad, and then you now go check somewhere else, and you see that the messaging is different, or even the product itself is not offering what their ad has been talking about. that's not alignment, right? And as a product manager, this is something we always try to do. We bring all these other things in that are part of the product, involved in, okay, right now, what we are focused on is that we're building a particular feature, okay, to solve a particular problem. The marketing, the messaging tool should not say anything else other than that, what that feature is, what the problem is solving, right? And a go-to-market strategy does that. It brings everyone into alignment such that marketing is not complaining or is not misaligned in their messaging. Sales is not selling something else. Development is not developing something else. The go-to-market strategy brings everyone into alignment. Next, having a go-to-market strategy lets you know the resources you have. So you don't overstep your bounds. You know that, okay, look, this is what we're doing, right? What resources are available? So you assess and secure the resources that you need for that particular strategy, okay? Because you need time. Your strategy will cost you money, right? It will take you time to prepare. But when you have a go-to-market strategy, when you have a detailed plan of how you want to launch your product, you are forced to restrain your resource. Think of it like a budget, okay? If you know that, okay, based on your strategy, this is what you need. If your budget doesn't, reach to that, whatever, what you want to achieve, then you can reshape your strategy, because you have to also think about the cost, what that go-to-market strategy will cost you as well. And then you now reshape your budget or whatever it is to actually achieve that go-to-market strategy. So it allows you to assess and secure resources. It allows you to manage your expectations. Part of the components of a go-to-market strategy is that you're going to set for yourself what they call goals and metrics and those kinds of things. When you're planning, you have to say, okay, this is what can we achieve with the capacity that we have. You're being realistic. You don't go thinking that shooting over the moon and expect. I'm not putting it right. Like, it allows you to have reasonable expectations in the sense that based on your capacity, you know what you can achieve with your particular strategy. You can't be putting, say you want to put 100k naira and then you're expecting to have 10 million downloads for an app. That's unrealistic. Your strategy will tell you that, okay, look, for 100k, because you've done your research, you've checked your plan, right? You've done your market analysis and all these things, and your plan tells you that, okay, look, for 100k, this is what we can achieve, right? This is what we hope to achieve. So it becomes, there are more realistic expectations when you have a go-to-market strategy, and you're not just shooting for the moon, so to speak, and expecting that heaven will suddenly just appear on earth. If you get what I mean. The sixth thing is that the go-to-market strategy allows you to build brand awareness. It's an opportunity for you to build additional brand awareness for your brand. So what that does is that you launch a new product to the market. If you do it well, people can start asking, okay, this product is great. Who made it? They can now begin to find out more things about your brand. Oh, okay, these guys, they make this. And that gives you an opportunity as well to acquire a loyal customer or a brand follower as well. So that's why having a go-to-market strategy is important. And lastly, when you're developing a go-to-market strategy, it gives you the opportunity to better understand your market. It gives you the opportunity to better understand their pains, their frustrations, their capacities, their goals, motivations, behaviors. The more insight you have about your market, the better you can solve their problem. Okay, and even if your current product may not be solving problem 90%, 100%, the next iteration you have will better solve the problem, because now you've gained a better understanding of the particular audience. Are you still with me? Okay. All right.
I'm with you.
So,
I'm listening to you. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. All right. Then, so I'm going to go into the main part of this, which is the steps, because the whole point of this session is to talk about how do we build a go-to-market strategy for a brand, right? And I outlined 10 steps. So if you go online, there's a lot of tools, a lot of frameworks, okay, and each of them have different steps. Some have 6 steps, some have 9 steps, some have 5 steps, and all of that. Some even break it into 4. But I had to take a critical look at this, and a lot of people, because when you hear go-to-market strategy, it can sound very complicated. So I try to make it as comprehensive as possible, and it's something that people can follow step by step and create an entire strategy document out of it. The first thing is, look, you need to identify what problem you're solving. There's no point in launching a product if the product is not solving a problem. I think a big case in point is Abeg, the Abeg app, right? So when they launched the Abeg app, there wasn't really a problem it was solving. It wasn't solving anything. It just was launched, and the whole idea, okay, you can beg your friends for money, all right? That was exciting, but it was a vanity problem, right? It wasn't real. And you discover that much later on, a lot of people stopped using Abeg. And everybody was now wondering, okay, what exactly is the Abeg app for, right? You can ask for money on WhatsApp, on other platforms, and so many other things, you know. And they put a lot of money into marketing and this thing, but it just wasn't clear what exactly was the real pain that they were solving. So every product launch solves a problem. Bolt is solving the problem of the stress that people go through ride hailing. Ariel detergent is there to remove grease from this thing. A nice pot of amala and ewedu is solving the problem of hunger. You get, so every product that's been launched is meant to solve a particular problem. The problems have to each of those products is to solve a problem, address a pain point. The pain points, and this is something I noted. I don't want to miss this. I told myself I will not miss this. The thing about the pain point that you're solving, right, is that it needs to be massive. It cannot be just small. 5 people cannot be having that problem, and then your product is going to solve that. It doesn't make any sense, right? It has to be a problem that is widespread, okay, that a lot of people are having. It makes it more relevant. So first things first, identify the problem that you solve, okay? Make sure that there's a lot of people who are experiencing that problem. Second thing you want to do is that you want to define your target audience. So you know the problem, not the people that are experiencing this problem, okay? Who are they, right? What category or segment do they belong to, right? And these are some questions that go-to-market strategy that area has to answer. Who is experiencing this problem that your product is solving? What are the specific frustrations that your product can alleviate? How much are they willing to pay for it, right? There are 2 tools you can use to this. There's something called an ideal customer profile. Anybody can Google that. It's a template that helps you answer those questions. Then there's something I like using personally called a buyer persona, right? So your buyer persona is like this fictional representation of your customer. Okay, it's not a real representation, it's a fictional representation of your customer. But in it, you're going to kind of like identify the goals of your customer, the behaviors of your customer, their frustrations, okay, and their motivations, all right, around that particular problem that you're trying to solve for. So that buyer persona now tells you, okay, look, this is my target audience. This is the person I'm solving this particular problem for, okay? It informs you on the value proposition that you're going to be creating for that particular customer. And now, there are several ways too. You can segment your customers by different ways. There are 4 ways you can segment your customer. One way you can segment them is by geography. So you can decide that, okay, look, are there people within a particular geographical area that are experiencing this problem? 2, demographic, okay? The age range, their earning potential, the kind of interest and hobbies they have, and things like that. The third way is psychographically, okay? Psychography is that what are their needs, right? How are they thinking? What are their values? You can segment the customers based on that. And then the last one is behavior. How do they behave? What are their buying patterns? What are their shopping patterns? Where do they shop? How do they shop? What do they shop with? So those 4 areas are 4 ways you can segment your customers: geographically, demographically, what was the third one? Psychographically, and lastly, behaviorally. So these 4 ways are ways you can segment your customers. Okay, you can, because they might be using your product because they can afford it. Okay, that falls under demographic, right? They might be using your product because they fall in the part, it's available in their location, or that's what's available in that particular location. All right, they can be using it psychographically in the sense that because of maybe the product itself is something that appeals to a much higher value, like it's green, so to speak. it doesn't damage the environment. So that's what they value, and that's what will draw them to your product. Then it could be a behavior. Maybe seasonally there's a promo, or that they clean every other weekend, so they need a cleaning product, bi-weekly or whatever it is. It will be based on the behavior. So that's one way you can segment your customers. So we've looked at identify the problem. Okay. Secondly, defining your target audience. The third thing you need to do now is clarify your value proposition. Okay. What is the value that you are offering to your customer? Okay. The value proposition is the benefit that you are providing for your customer, the problem that you're solving. How are you solving that problem? All right. Your product's value proposition, it tells the target market how your product is going to solve their problem, why they should purchase your product. Okay. Now, while you're preparing your go-to-market strategy, you have a clear understanding of what that value proposition is. Right. It has to tie to the target audience itself. You cannot say, because the reason you're building this product is that it's supposed to solve a problem for the customer. So your value proposition has to address them. Hey, Mr. Code, buy this because this is what this is going to do for you. Now, there's something called a value proposition canvas. When we are developing, it's part of a business model too, right? The value proposition canvas has three parts of it. It's divided into two parts. There's a part called the value map, and then the ideal customer profile. The customer profile in this canvas allows you to identify three things about your customer. The jobs that your customer wants to get done, the pains, okay, that your customer goes through, and the gains that your customer is expecting. So your product, okay, has to get a job done for your customer. You can do something. So this is part of a study called Jobs to be Done. Your product has to get a job done for the customer. If it's detergent, the job done is that I want to use my product can help you remove grease from your cloth. You get, that's the job done. Your product should be able to relieve them of a pain. Okay, the pain could be that, okay, look, this stuff I'm using, I have to use probably too much of it, or it's too expensive, or whatever it is, right? Your product has to relieve the customer of a pain. Good. Your product has to provide a gain for the customer. I remember we had bought a soap recently in my house. So we had been using this particular soap to wash clothes, and it wasn't really effective. Then I went and I saw another one, and then somebody was like, "Oh, get this because the soap is really good and it smells well," right? So I bought it, and it came to the house, and it did an amazing job, and then it made the clothes smell so well. So I'm like, wow, that's a value proposition right there. So a clear value proposition for that soap would be, look, this stuff helps you get grease from your clothing, all right? But it also adds the value that it makes your clothes also fresh, very small, which most of these washing soap do. Most of them don't really do. So that is the value proposition. And you see that value proposition is focused on the target market. It's focused on the user, all right? What their problem is and how it solves that problem for them. You have to be very clear about that. It cannot be ambiguous about what job it's doing, what pain it's relieving the user of, and what gain it's providing as well. So here are some questions that I wrote down. To define your product's value proposition, you need to answer the following questions, right? What pain points does your product, remedy? How does it stand out from competitors, right? What are the unique features that your product or service is providing for your customers? That's very important. And then you can now draft out your value proposition by out of answering those particular questions. The fourth step is that after you've done that, so you've identified your problem, find your market, clarified your value proposition. Next, you want to research the markets that you're going to put that product in. Okay, you want to identify the competition. You want to understand the demand. The truth of the matter is that market forces are changing. We talk about this all the time, right? Competitor is not waiting for you to release product, then they'll release. People are trying to see how they can take over the market and dominate it. Consumer demand is changing. Today, we are needing this. Tomorrow, we are needing that. Our schedules are getting busier and busier. We want life. Technology is rapidly evolving, and God, the way it's changing is just ridiculous. So you want to know, all right, the market that you're going to. You want to understand what is the behavior of this market, right? You want to know who the competitors are in the market. So you're going to need to do a competitor analysis. Very important, right? You also want to do a demand analysis as well. You need to find out, look, is there a demand for this solution? Is the pain much? Is there a demand for a solution to this problem? How are people solving this particular problem in that market, right? Who are the biggest competitors there? How are they positioned? How are they positioning themselves in the market? Okay, so that, because with this kind of information, it will inform you how you're going to also position yourself. You can't go and be competing with the giant, with somebody that's very big. You might think about you want to launch a new Indomie brand into the market. Look, you're not going to be. You have to ask yourself twice. First of all, who are competitors? Dangote is there. How is Dangote positioning himself? How do you now want to position yourself in that particular market space? What problems do you want to solve? Okay, Dangote will be solving a particular problem. Your noodle brand can now come in and say, okay, look, Dangote is solving this, but we have bad positions that we want to solve this particular space that Dangote is not solving. So that's very important. There's something called in go-to-market strategies called red ocean and blue oceans, right? A lot of people have heard of blue ocean strategy, but this is a thing behind it. Red oceans are markets where the competition is very high. If you're going to go into that kind of market, just be usually those kind of markets lead to something called price wars, where everybody starts to slash their price until the price now it doesn't even make sense anymore. Some companies suffer from that because they don't have enough money to sustain that price level, and businesses start to die out. You don't want to play price wars, especially with larger firms, because those guys, they have the advantage of something called economies of scale, meaning that they can produce large scale and lower prices, so they can afford to reduce their prices to a certain point. If you're a much smaller company, you reduce, you end up not making enough profit to sustain your business on the long run. So it's not always advisable to go and play in a red ocean where there's a lot of competition. You want to do what they call creating a blue ocean. So researching your market will help you identify red ocean and also open up opportunities for creating a blue ocean. Some questions to help guide people, the audience, on how you research your market. First, you need to who's already offering a similar product, right? What audiences and geographic regions do your competitors target? How does your product differ from the competition? What do you offer that others don't? Is there demand, or is the market completely oversaturated? All right. And there's a tool I can recommend. So you can either do a competitor analysis where you list out your competitors in a table at the top, and then list out key features that each competitor that you feel that product should offer, or key value propositions, and then begin to check which of your competitors is offering which and at what level. That's one way of doing a competitor analysis. Another way is to also identify your competitors. Is a tool called Porter's 5 forces. So Porter's 5 forces looks at the 5 different forces that can affect, I think, your product, if I'm not mistaken. That affect your product. So you have indirect competitors, direct competitors, substitutes, suppliers. Let me just quickly do it. A quick Google. I keep forgetting Porter's 5 forces. So Porter's 5 forces analysis. Yeah. So it talks about potential. Yes. So your rivals, because you're going to have direct rivals. Okay. People that are in the same space doing the same thing that you do. You're going to have new market entrants. People that are entering the market newly. You need to know them, because a lot of businesses, like take for example the case between Netflix and Blockbuster. Netflix was entered the market newly, and then because they were able to innovate, they disrupted the market, and eventually today they're one of the largest in that particular industry. Blockbuster has completely been edged out because they refused to innovate. So part of your competitor analysis using the 5 Porter framework would help you identify new market entrants. Then you need to know your suppliers as well, because sometimes suppliers have the power to what they do, something that they call vertical integration, where a supplier can now begin to, let's say you're a retailer, for example, and you're getting stuff from the supplier. If you don't check, if you're not careful, right, to differentiate yourself, your supplier can become a retailer as well. The person can vertically integrate, and because they are the ones that are creating the products, they have the power now to even sell it at a cheaper rate, and that could disrupt, that could be a problem for you. You also need to look at your customers, right? Your customers too, they can, if they have access to a lot of solutions in the market, they will determine how much they can buy for you. They would control price, okay? Because obviously they know they can get the same solution elsewhere, all right? Then you need to look at substitute products. Substitute products are products that people that solve the same problem but in a different way. So ice cream and donuts, for example. Ice cream solves not necessarily hunger, but a certain level of enjoyment, or is a snack, is a refreshment. But donut solves it differently. Ice cream solves it differently. They are substitutes, right? I can substitute Coke for water. So you need to look at substitute as well, because if your product is not appealing enough, it is not solving that particular problem enough, a substitute can come in and people can switch to that substitute because probably they feel it's doing a better work than your particular product. So Porter's 5 process is a very good tool to help you do a competitor analysis. The next step 5, so we've looked at identify the problem, define your target market, clarify your value proposition, research the market to identify your competitors and demand, and then next is define your pricing. Look, pricing, especially in a country like Nigeria, price is a big factor. Price is also a way of segmenting different customer segments, right? Because there's luxury, okay, then there's the mass market and all of that stuff. So your pricing is very important, and you can't price too much, you can't price too little. You have to be sure that you get your pricing on at spot on, okay? I think I have some questions. Okay, so in terms of answering the pricing question, right? You want to ask yourself, how much did it cost you to first manufacture that product? How much did it cost you? You can't go and put the price below the product. You can't put the exact same price, put price at the exact same cost. You're not going to make any profit. You can't put it too high as well. Some people sometimes they are doing 300% profit, and that's ridiculous. So you have to be very careful about that pricing. But first ask yourself, how much did it cost you to make the product? What price do you need to have in order to meet profit, in order to break even, in order to be able to sustain the business, in order to make a considerable profit? How much are your competitors charging their customers? And then what's your target market willing to pay for that particular product as well? And are you going to use subscription-based model for pricing? Are you going to use a transactional model? How are you going to go about the whole pricing strategy? The next step after that is that now you need to talk about your messaging. How will your messaging be? How are you going to communicate your value proposition to your customers? So you want to, as much as possible, make sure that your messaging is focused on particular pain points. You don't have one messaging for multiple pain points, right? There's something called a value matrix. The value matrix divides, so you have a table division, okay, that focuses on. So once you know your buyer personas, right, you divide the matrix into personas, pain points, and then the messaging, right? So your persona, first of all, is who is the person that this product is going, who is the target audience? What is their specific pain point? So for that pain point now, you now have a kind of messaging for that pain point. So the customer could be a laundry owner. Laundry owner owns a laundry business and he wants to have cleaner clothes, okay? So his pain point is that other detergents out there are not giving him cleaner and fresh smelling clothes, right? Your messaging for him now would be, okay, look, Ariel, whatever, provides you with gets toughest stains removed in a jiffy and also keeps your clothes looking fresh. You get that value matrix allows you to create specific messaging for a specific pain point for a specific buyer. So that way you can list out, okay, these are the other people, these are the people I'm going to be targeting for this particular buyer persona. This is the messaging I'll use for this one. This is the messaging I'll use, and this is the pain point it's addressing. Once you're done with the crafting your messaging, Next, you want to map your buyer journey. This is also a very important step in product management as well. When you're able to map your buyer journey, the buyer journey of your customer, what you're saying is that how do they go from having a problem to finding a solution, right? To becoming aware of a solution, to finding the right solution, and then using that solution. So some people call it the buyer journey. In product management, it's more like a customer journey, right? Customer journey map, right? And what you're going to do in this area is that you need to analyze your customer from the point where they have a problem to how they go about solving it. So a typical example, a very common example is, okay, somebody needs a car, right? Okay, why would I need a car? First of all, I need a car because I'm tired of trekking, all right? Probably the distance to my work is very far, and I need a car. Okay, I now go online and I search. I begin to do research for a car. After I research, I'm going to find multiple options. So first of all, there's a problem. Next, there's research. Next, consideration. Next thing is decision. It depends on the. So there are many frameworks for this thing, right? It depends on that particular problem, all right, that the person is having, the steps they're going to go to. And at each of this journey, right, there are certain things you want to look at. How is the person finding out about the solution? What are the challenges they are facing at each point in the journey? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are they saying? What are they doing, right? At each point of the journey, if you're able to identify these things, you're going to be able to find insights. So let's say someone who's researching for a car, and then they have in mind a particular kind of car, but they're having problems knowing where to look, okay? Or they are searching, but they're not just getting the right thing. That is the pain point. If you can discover that, okay, look, this is the challenge person having in this stage of their journey, okay, then you can better either tailor your solution to addressing that particular pain, or positioning your solution in such a way that if they are trying to find out about your particular product, it's going to be much easier for them. And normally, right, how most marketers, now from a marketing perspective, when I say marketing, I mean like more of a deeper marketing perspective. The customer journey is usually envisioned as a funnel, right? And this is something I'm sure you're very much aware of. You have the funnel where there's the AIDA, awareness, interest, decision, and I think acquisition or so, right? And at different parts of the funnel, right? So the funnel is grouped into two levels. There's the top of the funnel, there's the middle part of the funnel, and then there's the bottom part of the funnel, right? So the top of the funnel, look, at that point, a lot of people are entering in. People are considering, they're looking for multiple options, and they're asking many questions and those kind of things. At the middle part, there's a lot of consideration, a lot of comparisons, and all of those kind of things. And then at the bottom part, there's more of, okay, there's a questioning about how, okay, what are the final decisions am I going to make? Am I going to eventually buy this one, or am I going to go for this one, right? So this is what I had down for this. For the top of the funnel part, right? Customers, they know the problem they want to solve, okay, and they are looking for different kinds of solutions. They may not be aware of what products exist to solve a particular solution. So at this point, right, you need to try and grab their attention, okay? You need to get them to begin to consider your product. So you might be putting out, a lot of content out there. You get SEO, all those kinds of things, right? So that if they are searching, somebody goes on Google and they're searching, okay, I need to get grease off this trouser, or I can't get this stain off. That search request will trigger your flyer or your website or some content you created to pop up, and they now become aware of it, all right? Because at the top of the funnel part, they are looking for a solution. The middle of the funnel is where they are now weighing the different solutions that they found, okay? So at this point, they're weighing different products, right? And this is where you need to now convince them to become potential buyers, okay? So you have to present them with something more like case studies, all right, or testimonials, or those kinds of things that will convince them that your product is the option that they want to go for. Then the bottom of the funnel, okay, this is where they decide to pay for your product. How are they going to go about paying for your product? Okay, the payment process has to be seamless. All right, and this is more for people in sales. Okay, sales have to figure out how they can convert those customers who have finally made the decision to make a payment, to get them to actually make that payment. So all of these things happen. You have to consider them from the very beginning. Top of the funnel. What are your what are the marketing strategies you're going to deploy in that particular area? Middle part of the funnel. I think I wrote down some examples. Let me see if I can find those examples. Okay, I scrapped that out because that was too much. So there are different parts of these funnels, right? There are different things you need to do at different parts of the funnel. Anyone who's looking for awareness is not looking for a detailed document of what your product does. No, that person is looking for, he just wants to get, you want to first draw them into with your messaging. Get this thing done in the jiffy. Pull them in. Consumer attention is very short. You can't say, read a report on how we solved, on how we help clean them 50,000 shirts. That's too bulky to read. Have a strong messaging that once they are searching for that stuff, position your product in where your customers are going to find stuff. Once they see it, they can now click, and then they can now see what you're offering. Dig deep. The deeper they go, the more detailed the value proposition you're going to be showing them becomes. So that's it for mapping your buyer's journey, right? How do they go about searching for the solutions? What are the challenges they have at each stage of their journey? And then find out what their pains are, and then begin to see how you can solve those pains in those at different stages of the journey. So let me give, and I think I should give an example in this particular part. So I think, okay, so we had discovered that some customers were not finding, I think okay, it's a project I was working on, right? It's a product that I was trying to build, an automobile brand, and a platform where people could buy and sell cars online. And when we assessed the customer journey, okay, we discovered that, right, people were searching for cars on a particular social media platform, okay, but they weren't seeing the kind of cars they were looking for, right? They were not looking for luxury cars, they were looking for fairly used cars, second-hand, those kind of things, right? And so what we decided to do, okay, this person, they're searching on Facebook for cars, right? But they're not seeing platforms that are providing enough information about cars, okay, and all of that stuff. So we decided, okay, look, we're going to target our marketing, right? We're going to put flyers and do ads on Facebook, okay? Boost those ads on Facebook and provide it with the kind of information that if they can look at one glance, they'll be able to get what they need to make the next step, to make the next decision in their purchase journey, all right? So we noticed that there was a gap, and then we decided to position ourselves properly so that we can take advantage of the gap in the customer's journey. The next step, after you map your customer journey, you need to now pick your marketing channels, which is in line with the previous step of mapping the journey. Your customers are not everywhere. They are in specific places, all right? They are in specific social media platforms. The people on Instagram behave different from people on Facebook, behave different from people on TikTok, YouTube, and all of that. So for the product that you're offering, for the problem that you're solving, where can you find these customers, all right? Where are they? Where are they mostly going to see and interact with your product, with your value proposition, with your marketing, and all of that stuff? It's very important that you identify the right channels, okay? Most people, when people are, and then the channels also, they align with the customer journey. Anybody that's going to be doing an awareness for a product, most likely will go on Google to search for a solution for that particular problem that they're having. So you know that search engine will probably be one channel that you want to address in your market strategy. If your product is something that's more visual, okay, that requires visual content around it, you know that you are probably better off on TikTok or Instagram and not on Facebook or Twitter. So there's so many things that affect the choice of channels. Your marketing channels are different, are the different types of content you use to create demand for your product. Okay, and they're also a way for you to move potential customers down your marketing funnel, get them from awareness to conversion. Okay, so there are many ways: social media ads, blogs, social media handles, SEO content, different marketing channels, right? They depend on your audience. Where are your audience? Okay, and at what point are they in their customer journey? If you don't align your marketing, the choice of your marketing channels with these two things, then you're going to be completely, out of place with the current realities of your customer. And I wrote this down. Let me read this. It says, if your ideal customer uses, in just trying to come up with an example to buttress my point here, if your ideal customer is using YouTube, all right, and not Facebook, you want to focus on YouTube ads, rather than going to go and do social media posts and all those kind of things. That's very important. So depending on where they are in the marketing funnel, that will also determine the kind of marketing content that you would dish out to help them move on to the next phase. For real world examples, search engine optimization, right, is more for people so you want to use search engine optimization to attract people that are going to be searching for solutions for a particular problem. So you can probably go do you can let's say I'm going to use the detergent example. Your customers are looking for ways to remove, because I've done this before. I've gone online and I'm like, how do I remove blood stain from a shirt? So you can optimize your search engine in such a way that when somebody does that kind of search, it brings up your detergent brand as one of the, either as a content, okay, and then, but if you're doing search engine marketing, you can bring it up as an ad in the Google search results or whatever search platform you're using. Case studies, webinars are more for people that are middle of the funnel, because at that level you're trying to consider different alternatives for your products. So you want to look at case studies. Okay, what has this product done before, right? Case studies and even use cases. Where can this product be used? What problems can this product solve? So that's a step deeper than just, okay, the product does this, but where has it been done before? What are the real world examples of this product solving a particular problem? Then at the bottom of the funnel, you need to put in place options to get your customer to actually use your product or pay for it. A very common example is freemium. So there's this freemium model where people, they just get you to use the product first, and then after like a period of time, you have limited features. Rather, for freemium is that you have limited features, and then if you want to use more features, you now have to pay. There's also the 30-day free trial type of approach, or 7-day free trial. Those are the bottom of the funnel, because that takes the customer from considering which of the alternatives to use to now actually using it, and even making a commitment to pay after 30 days or 1 week, or to pay after for an even better kind of a feature. So choosing your marketing channels is important. You need to identify those things. So I'm going to put my customers here, and I'm going to put them here. I'm going to start with SEO, then I'm going to go into create webinars and do this for them, and put the webinars on social and so platforms. Then I'm going to offer 30-day free trial, blah, 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 all that. All those things are part of the option of you selecting your market channels. The ninth thing you want to do is that you want to choose your sales and distribution channels. How are you going to sell? Okay, how are people going to reach out to you to buy your product, to use it, to download it? Where would they go? Because yes, they can watch about it, they can read about it, they can visit the website, but at the end of the day, they have to go somewhere to either make a payment for it or to download it. Whatever it is, you have to think about that as well, because it's a step-by-step process. You're leading the customer all the way to the point where they're going to eventually use your product and pay for it. So sales and distribution is important. Where will you sell your product? How will you sell it? Okay, how will you sell it? And it all depends on your customer. Again, very important, because your customer might not be comfortable buying something on social media. They might be comfortable buying it from an e-commerce brand. I've had this particular situation before where they were asking for an e-commerce website, and I was actually consulting for a client, and she said most of her customers keep asking her for a website. So she needs to have her sales channel now will be her e-commerce platform, where they will go and pay for the particular product that they have considered or decided to buy. So so sales channels are where consumers can purchase your product. Distribution are the channels that your product actually gets to your customers. How do you want to get it to your customers? It could be Google Play Store, it could be a physical store, whatever it is, right? Now, when you're deciding this, I wrote this down, right? Some things to consider. What is the nature of your product? Okay, what is the nature of your product, and does it have a specific sales and distribution requirement? What are the manufacturing needs? Okay, where does the target market shop or buy products, and how can you make the process seamless? Let it not be cumbersome, let it be seamless, let it be easy for your customer. Because sales is also part of their journey, and it might be that a competitor is making their sales process very cumbersome. That could also be an opportunity for you as a business to provide a seamless sales process by which your customers can get your product. The whole point of your go-to-market strategy, look, is for you to sell your product. The whole point is that you're launching your product, so people can buy it, use it, all right, and you can make profit from it. Lastly, on the 10 steps is that you want to set metrics and monitor performance, right? You want to have goals. Without goals, you can't know if you're succeeding or you're failing. And there are 3 ways to set goals. You have SMART goals framework, you have OKRs, objectives and key results. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound, right? So you want to set SMART goals, and then there's something about that SMART goals called smarter goals. I think I got this. I had read something that Joel Adepojo had posted, and he talked about smarter goals. And the ER stands for to evaluate and to redesign or something like that. So while you have SMART goals, you want to always evaluate your goals consistently and then try to redesign those goals again. So a SMART goal could be something like, okay, we're launching this product, right? And in 6 months, we want to generate 1 million total downloads and 100,000 new users in that 6 months. That could be a SMART goal because it's time bound, it's measurable, it's realistic, it's smart, it's specific as well. KPIs are key performance indicators. They are a way of tracking your progress towards achieving a company-wide objective. So we want to be doing 1 million every month, okay? Within 3 months, we want to generate so and so number of revenue, or so and so number of conversions, and so and so number of click-through rates. That's a key performance objective, right? So that every month you're expected to, okay, this is what we've done this month, this is what we've done the next month, this is what we've done the 3rd month. Objectives and key results is a framework that Google invented. You have a particular objective, and then you have key results that you would use to say if you achieve that particular objective. So a key result, a objective will be that you want to increase awareness of a product, right? That's an objective. I want to increase awareness of this product. I want to increase market adoption. I want to do this. I want to do that. That's an objective. Your key results are that it could be, okay, look, one part of the key results is that we want to drive 2 million users to the website. We want to have social media engagement of 50%. We want to have want to generate 1 million in revenue and all of that stuff. Those are key results that combine to achieve that particular objective. Now you have to be careful when you're setting metrics, because there are things called vanity metrics, right? Vanity metrics are vanity. They're just for show. They don't really give any real value. Like, for example, likes don't help your business in any way, right? They're just likes. The real metrics for your business is, okay, look, how many conversions, for example, how many people are buying your products, right? How many people are going from going from liking and engaging to actually entering into your DM and saying, look, I want to know the price for this, how much, all right? How much revenue are you generating? How many people are signing up and doing specific actions, right? Those metrics are very important. There are many metrics frameworks out there. There's the HEART framework, HEART, by Google. There's the Pirate framework, which is mostly for startups. So there's so many metrics out there. All of these frameworks, what they allow you to do is that they help you, right, capture the right things to measure, the right things that matter for your business. The main thing is customer acquisition, very important. The cost of acquiring customer is also very important as well. How much revenue are you making is very, very important. What's your brand reach, right? How far? How many people know about your brand, right? There's something called brand recall. When people are talking about something, is your brand the name that comes first? Those things that they're very, very, very important. So you have to be careful that you are not dwelling on vanity metrics, but you're dwelling on the real things that affect the growth and success of your business. So yeah, I mean, those are basically how you build a go-to-market strategy. With all these 10 points, you put them together in the document. It's going to take a lot of research. It's going to take a lot of experimentation. You have to get out in the field, ask questions, talk with your customers, interview suppliers, competitors, get there in the field, find out how the market really works, and then put all this information together, organize it in these 10 steps, and you have your go-to-market strategy. And obviously the next thing is to execute it, which is very simple. Executing is not that difficult. If you already have these things outlined, particularly in where you have your customer journey, you know, okay, like this is the problem this customer is facing at this part of their journey, and that part is the starting point, then you want to address that point. It could be creating a content, it could be creating an ad, whatever it is. Obviously, you want to start with the most pressing need and then begin to execute it, go-to-market strategy on that particular area. All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick. I must say, your class just reminded me of back there when I was in school, where you sit down and undergo a very serious lecture, man. This is some serious lectures. Thank you so much for the class. So there are a few questions that I believe that some of our audience might be asking. I think those who are in business, they might be like, okay, you've talked about a lot. You've talked about the buyer persona. You've talked about the value proposition. You've talked about Michael Porter's forces, and of which, to be honest with you, some people still find that still vague. They kind of not understand how they apply that or where that comes from. So for some people believe that Michael Porter's forces is theory because they feel like it's not the real world, because when you go to the real world, it's a different ball game entirely, but then not the same. So we've talked about a lot, but then there are a few things I want to ask. And the first question is, you talked about product market fit. Can you tell us more about product market fit?
Okay, so product market fit.
And when someone say product market fit, a lot of people hear product market fit, but people don't know what does it mean. What is it? How does it, if I were to approach an investor, now we're talking about it from a practical perspective. I'm approaching an investor. An investor is saying that I must have attained product market fit. So the question I'm asking myself is, what is product market fit, and how will an investor measure the fact that I have attained product market fit as a startup, or as a person growing a business, or I have a digital business, or I have a physical business? How will I measure the fact that I've attained product market fit?
Okay, so let me start by giving a very succinct definition of what a product market fit is, right? There is a demand, okay, for the solution that you're offering, meaning that problem, right? So this guy says that this concept is known as a product. The degree to which a product satisfies a strong market demand, the degree to which a product satisfies a strong market demand. So there's people are looking for this particular thing. There's this problem in the market. I can't take off blood stains from my shirt. Okay, that's the problem, right? And you now discover that, look, this problem is rampant, is widespread. Okay, you've done your test, you discover that, okay, you interview like 100 people, and they all said 80% or 90% say that this problem is a big problem. You get, That's one. So you've identified that there's a massive problem. And then your solution now, okay, when your solution comes, it solves that problem and such that people say that when they rate your solution, maybe you can use an NPS score or based on ratings of 50 people, right? They say that 80% of them say that, okay, your solution solves the problem at least 90%. Do you understand? It means that the majority of people that are confirming that your solution, okay, is better than the alternatives, okay, means that you have product market fit. I don't know if that makes sense. There are 10 people. 8 of them say that this is a big problem. Your solution comes. 8 of them says that you're solving the problem 9% and 9% of the time, 90% of the time. That's what a product market fit is. So when an investor is asking you product market fit, what they're actually looking for is, okay, have you validated that there's a problem in the market and that the problem is very large? Has your solution been able to solve this problem satisfactorily and probably either better than the best solutions in the market or just as good as the best solutions in the market? That's when you have product market fit. Because there's no point in having a very good solution and then there's very few people that need it, right? The solution may solve the problem very well, but only very, very small percentage of the market needs it. That's not product market fit. Your solution there might be a very large market that are using that solution, but then your product is subpar of the competitor you get ahead. That's not product market fit, because at that point your competitor is still the better alternative. You're just now competing and even competing poorly against a competitor.
Okay, so what you're saying in essence is that if you come up with a product and the product is, how will I put it, is better than the competition, it means that you've attained product market fit. Is that what you're saying?
Better than or as good as, okay, the competitor in solving the problem, and there's a large market that is, how will I put it, is being satisfied with that solution. Because the market size is important.
In a scenario, so you are saying that product market fit is not necessarily how much money you've made from your product or from your startup. It's just based on how much of the problem exists and how much is your product solving the problem, and the users of your product, how would I put it, in agreement with you that you're actually solving the problem. Is that what you mean?
Yes, so to validate that agreement now, it's not just a matter of, so the ultimate validation for an agreement is willingness to pay, right? So because they are paying for your solution, it's saying that this thing is really doing the work it's supposed to be doing, right? So that's your proper validation. So let me say that if people say, okay, there's an existing competitor, right? And then you come in with your own product that cleans the same things, and then people are paying for your product, and you see that that's increasing, it means that that's a validation already that you have product market fit.
So you are saying that when you have the higher your net promoter score, the higher your product market fit. So if other users are willing to talk about your product to other people, which means you've achieved product market fit.
Yes. So that is a component. It's not the NPS score is not a singular factor. It's not in isolation, right? But it's also a very important component of that product market fit. Because for me to buy the product, use it, and then recommend somebody else, right, without a push, without an incentive, you follow, right? It means that my product is doing something very well, and that's an indication of product market fit.
Okay, so let's play a typical hypothetical situation. Say my name is James, and I came up with a very brilliant idea, and I feel like this idea is really going to change the world. For example, I'm just giving an example, or maybe they say, let me know you, that's too hypothetical. Let me use something more streamlined. So I have a digital product. Say, for example, I create digital books or ebooks or something like that. Or I have the digital store. And I believe that the content or the books are content from maybe bestsellers. I gather bestsellers in different niche and different genre to solve different problems in different sectors and put all of that in one space. You understand? And I'm offering all of that for free. Let's assume Like you can download some of the products for free. You can download others with maybe a subscription fee to access the complete package. Maybe a few of them are free so that you can have an experience of the product, but the rest you have to pay for it. And now people are downloading the free one but are not downloading the paid one. Does it actually mean that you have achieved product market fit if they are recommending their friends to come and download the free one, but they are not necessarily rushing the paid ones? Would you call that product market fit actualization?
No, I wouldn't call that product market fit actualization, because the monetary part, right? The whole point is that, look, I am going to pay for this solution, right? When you're offering the free part, that's not a complete solution. That's a subset of the solution. I don't know if you follow, right? That's a subset of the solution. So the entire solution itself, right, is very important that the customer is willing to pay for it. Because if they're buying the free one, right, what exactly is the problem with the paid one that they're not willing to pay for it? It means that there's something wrong, okay, that it isn't doing for the customer. That's why they're not willing to pay for it.
So you are saying that it should just be good to run some tests to find out for that particular person as to why people are not willing to pay but are willing to go for the free one, and are willing to recommend the free one but are not saying anything about the paid one. That's what you're saying.
So now here's the thing, right? Because this is where you now need to do experimentation. Okay, so you have different kinds of MVPs and this thing, and then each experiment you do, okay, has an evidence strength, okay, to validate your business, right? So people might say something in in an interview, right? But then when it now comes to the point of purchasing, all right, it's not what they don't do what exactly they're saying, okay. A pre-sale MVP, for example, it's much stronger than somebody who's doing an interview, than you interviewing someone, right? So because somebody says they'll buy it, or because somebody buys a free version, does not have correlate to a stronger evidence than a pre-sale. Pre-sale is the sense that, okay, if I want to create a book, and I put out coming soon, pre-order, right? And out of 10 views, 6 people pre-order the book at, let's say, a cheaper price, okay? That's a good indication that what I'm about to release has a strong product market fit, you get, because they are willing to pay money for the value proposition that I'm offering. The problem with free, all right, in the sense is that people could just, there's no real cost attached to getting it free. So I could just do it for doing sake. But the fact that I pay for it, right, there's a cost on my part. And for me to part ways with my money, it means that there's a value that this thing has, okay, that I need. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So you have to experiment at different levels. And at different levels, that there's a book, Testing Business Ideas, right? There's over about 44 experiments in that book. Each experiment is used to strengthen your product, okay, as you progress. So you might start with a proof of concept, and then you do an experiment, and from the experiment you learn that, okay, this is not what the user wants, this is what they want. You iterate your product, you now experiment again. As the experiments progress, it costs more to do the experiment, but the validations are more realistic, they are more stronger. So like I gave the example of a pre-sale. To really know that people value your solution, try and sell it. If they pay money for it, any amount, then you know that there's a real value here. But if it's free, there's no way of assessing whether the value is good or not, so to speak.
All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate the response. You really explained a lot about that. So the next question I would actually like to throw, now that you talked about red ocean, blue ocean strategy, and then that's something they talk about in business school. You can't go to business school and somehow, some way, some form, they will probably talk about it like directly or indirectly. So in a red ocean strategy, say for example, you have a hobby, or say you have a passion, or you're good at something that is already saturated, that is already a saturated market, which means you have bigger players playing in that same industry you want to go in. Now, these players are stronger than you. Yes, you have something. Let's say, for example, let me give you an example. Say you worked with Google, for example, and you were probably the team head managing a particular product that was highly successful in that particular niche. Just like Andela and Paystar guys. Let me use an
Yeah.
example. Some guys that worked in a and then they break out and start up their own payment solution. Now you are probably striving in an industry where there are bigger fishes than you, that like they will literally crush you if should you try to compete. But you have a competitive advantage. But you do not have funds to push yourself, to give you that, to push yourself out to the market, to exert yourself as a dominant person. So how do
Yeah.
you now compete against people who are bigger than you and you're a newbie? So which means you do not have proof of you don't have social proof yet, at least not
Yeah.
yet, a business idea, because this whole meeting is all about people who have business idea, who are early stage startups, and they don't have they've not built their credibility yet, they've not built their recognition yet, nobody knows their surname, nobody even knows what you are or what you do, and really they don't care. Now how do you, and but you have something of quality, something of concept, something that you know that is going to add value to people. Now, how do you sell that value when you are not even known? How do you compete in a very saturated market and still get traction, even in a
Okay.
highly saturated market?
So my answer is don't. You can't. I mean, David and Goliath, it's not a head-on fight. It's you have to use tactics and strategies, right? Okay. One of those ways is differentiation. All right. Differentiation is very important in the sense that large companies have a disadvantage where, look, and this is where a lot of large companies have discovered, and they're now capitalizing, trying to fill that gap. Large companies, bureaucracy prevents them from disrupting, prevents them from innovating, because there's a lot of process you have to go through before you get funds released for a product that's probably a test product, and then there's a lot of risk around that new product. But a startup does not have that challenge, right? A startup is literally a business experiment, okay, that is hoping to become viable and then scale. So if you're entering into a space and it's called a lot of incumbents, okay, who are owning the space, do not go head to head. Okay, one, differentiate yourself, like be very accurate about what specifically do you do. You can call it niching down. Okay, to niche down, this is the area that we're solving and we are damn good about it. That's what you do. Secondly, you can partner with these guys. Look, they are big, does not mean they can't fall, does not mean they don't have issues. They are big, most times they are slow. What can you do for them? You cannot figure, okay, look, I'm going to be offering these people a particular solution. That could be your niche, right? Help them streamline a process. Help them, improve something that they are doing. Instead of competing head to head, you could partner with them. You could collaborate with them, all right? Or don't even try to even do something that they're doing. Just come up with a different market space entirely, all right? Create a new product, a new service that nobody else is doing. But this is in a situation where you have like a lot of big guys in your space. But if you're having a situation where the market is saturated with the same competitors, like it's very common in Cross River State, Calabar, you start a bullet business, and then 2 months, 3 months down the line, there's like 10 people on that same line that they're doing. You could differentiate on your different. And by the way, right, your competitiveness is not just about your product alone, but sometimes it's about your process. If you reduce your cost, you definitely have the ability to now reduce the price of your product, right? So you might think about innovating your processes to make sure that, one, you're producing your stuff at a cheaper rate, all right? There's something by Boston Consulting Group. It's called, I just can't remember the name. It's a kind of matrix where there are different
Is it BSG?
strategies.
Is it BSG
B,
metric?
it's not BSG matrix, it's a BCG matrix, BCG
Okay,
value
BCG
matrix.
metric. Sorry, BCG
Yes.
metric.
So,
Yes.
of course, so it gives you different what's it called different ways, okay, by which you can customize your product. I think I just found it right. So you have something called a cash cow. You can look at a product that has large market share, but the growth is very small. You can look at something that has low market share, low growth. There are many ways you can go around your product. Okay, it can be very niche, it can be luxury, it can be for everybody, you know, mass market, low price. You have to explore different ways, but avoid doing a head-to-head competition. Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I guess the network just took out the stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
so yeah, you were saying something.
there are many opportunities you can explore instead of competing head to head. Because I always advise avoid a price war because it's very costly on the business. Avoid a price war. Always find a way to differentiate your product, differentiate your service, or just come up with something completely new, or even collaborate. It's much easier that way. It saves you drama, saves you stress, and you can just survive the market. Because red oceans, the reason why they call them red oceans is because there's blood everywhere.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I guess that should, because the truth is, they talk about red ocean, blue ocean, but you don't actually hear how you literally use that as a business owner. Because let me just put my own addition. Say, for example, you are entering a market. Say there is a luxury business. You know, there are some luxury business, say in the
Yes.
US, in the UK, that are striving and doing quite well, and then you want to set that, say maybe in Nigeria or something like that, and then you are not like you do not localize the content, and you just take the content directly as it is because there's a market. Doesn't mean that the approach and angle would work. You just bring it directly and put it, and at the end of the day, nothing is working. It's like you're struggling, and the business is trying to keep up, and the next thing, everything just you just go out of the market space, even without competing with the competition is not fierce, and yet you're struggling to survive in the business because why? There's revenue problem, there's funding, there's a whole lot of other issues that are coming up at the rate. So, like you rightly said, one is it is very important we take note of the market space, what we are going into, and how we intend to differentiate ourselves in the market. So yeah, so I have another question that I believe that some persons will be asking as a new business or a startup person is how do you penetrate a market that has fierce competition? Now you've differentiated yourself, you've identified your USAP, your unique selling proposition or your value proposition, you've defined who you are targeting and how you want to get to who you want to get to. So how do you now penetrate a market that is heavily dominated by stronger people with higher funding than you are. Say, for example, you want to go into the drinks or beverages establishment. You are going into a very fierce market. Now you are talking about the big boys who run the show in that particular industry. How are you going to penetrate that market? You've done your target persona, you know your target persona, you've done your you know your USAP, you know what is going to solve, you know the pain, the product solves the pain point of the user. It has like two-thirds of everything you've just said. But the people that you want to go and fight against have monopolized those spaces that you want, that market space you want to enter. So how do you now penetrate such market when your competitors are literally owning those platforms?
So it's a simple thing. You have to be obsessed with the customer. Okay, people have problems. Like there's one thing that this world will never run out of is problems. They will always complain about the current solutions that they are using. There will always be a pain. And this is something that Steve Jobs mastered, and Amazon, sorry, not Steve Jobs, Amazon is a master at, right? Jeff Bezos has built an invincible company that is able to even anticipate users' problems. So they're ready for you 2 years down the line. They know that you have this problem later. Or you even have the problem, you don't even know that you have the problem. Like the one that shocks me is Nike's new shoes called the hands-free, right? Me, for as long as I can remember, I have always used my feet to remove my shoes, okay? And I'll come, and that has damaged a lot of my shoes. I'll come, put my leg, press it down, I've been doing that for life, but I've never heard of anyone, anywhere, saying that they want to build great shoe, and then Nike just pumps, it does it. I'm like, this problem is not, it's like from generations. So why is it that they're now attempted to solve the problem now? Why are they the only ones? Because I've never heard anybody doing anything like that. The reason is because they are focused on the customer. They are observing the customer, observing the user, right? They are obsessed with the customer, such that, look, things that we do normally that we don't consider a problem, in fact, is like a way of life. They just live like that. But Nike says, you know what? Let's solve that problem for them. They don't know it's a problem until the product shows up, and then you discover that you don't need your hands and it's convenient that it doesn't spoil your shoe. That's the problem. So you have to be obsessed with the customer. Your competitors, they can do the best they can, because you can't solve all the problems of your users, right? That's why we have innovation strategies. People are constantly asking questions and trying to figure out, okay, what's next? What's next?
Sorry to cut you short. I just want to, so we don't digress so much. You see, I don't think you understand this particular question. So say, for example, like I said, you sell, okay, there was someone I was talking to. She's an author. I just want to use this as a practical example. She's an author. She writes a book and she wants to sell them. But now she's looking for people to help her sell the book. The book actually meets a need, but now it is how to get the book from her hand or from the publishers to the people that are going to read the book. Now, the distribution channel to get the book across the channel from where it is to who is going to buy it and who is going to read it is fierce. Like, it's literally owned by the competition, by the competitor. Now, how are you now going to sell a book that your competitors own? You understand? Where the people you are looking for, the people that will buy the book, are on your competitor's platform.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? That's what I'm talking about.
So the thing is, look, in that kind of situation, let's be frank, business is not sentiments. You have to be shrewd about it. If your competitor owns they can't own all the distribution channels. They don't own Facebook. If it's a physical distribution channel, there has to be alternatives. Unless it's a monopoly, unless you're dealing in a monopolistic economy, right? Which I'm not in this scenario. Is it a monopoly we're talking about here? Because if it's a monopoly,
let's say in a scenario of a monopolistic market.
So one, like I said, obsession with the customer, because assuming, right? Because there's a lot of factors to this. It's not a straightforward answer, because one, if the person is in a monopolistic environment, okay? Maybe there's one distributor that's going to get them. There's no internet, assuming what they can do is that they can partner with that distributor and share sales. Or two, they set up their own distribution channel and start out with the closest, with what they can handle with their present resources. Because they own the solution. It's a book. I own the book. I can decide to open a store and sell the book there. Obviously, the challenge there is the fact that my competition in Monopoly, they can use underhanded tactics or buy me out, but I can cash out by selling higher. So it's not the environment surrounding this particular context is not completely hostile. That there's no other way out. I can decide to stop doing physical and do my book digital. Okay, sell the book online. They don't own the digital space. I can sell the book online. I think because we exist in a market where there are other forces at play. Okay, monopoly is not very easy it doesn't last long, number one, and there's always going to be someone who eventually have money to create to create alternative route. That's why disruption is a thing. The reason disruption is a thing is because there was an incumbent. The incumbent, someone else came up with something better technology, disrupted the incumbent, and made life easy for everybody else. iPhone was an incumbent, and Google was it? No, they were other bigger before the Android came in. The Android is an innovation. And the Android is not actually, the way it was that it was meant to be cheaper for everyone, disrupted the market.
BlackBerry.
So I think, BlackBerry, that was it. So I think that for this particular person, you've got to find alternative. I don't believe that there's no way out. There is a way out. It's just that the person may not be willing to take that way because they have, and this thing about business, that's not about what you want. It's about what the users want. So figure out what they want and figure how you can deliver it to them. And then obviously, when you're building a business model, there's a part called key partners. You can't build a business by yourself. People building businesses who are solo entrepreneurs building on Instagram and Facebook, Instagram is a key partner. Because if you don't align with Instagram's values, Instagram can off your account and that's the end of your business. So you have to service your key partner. Very important. So if it is, and in that case, you can call it a monopoly. Because if you don't service Instagram, you lose out. But if you have to service your key partner to ensure that your value proposition gets to your internal customers and you're able to capture value back. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So my second to my final question is usually so I'm trying to anticipate a new user. Now a new user stumbles on this video and he listens to all your steps. He wants to implement the steps, but he doesn't even know where to begin. You understand? So now the first question now is, you want to do a brand persona, and we talked about brand persona in this particular conversation. And we know that technology has made life so easy for people that you do not necessarily have to do your brand persona all by yourself. There are templates, there are generators, there are tools that just makes life a whole lot easier to doing a brand persona. So the question is, how do you go about building a brand persona? You want to build a brand persona, and you don't necessarily want to pay somebody to do it. You just want to go and use a tool to use online to do it for you. So what approach would you adopt to get a brand persona tools to help you achieve your brand personas, get brand persona information that you are looking forward to start your go-to marketing plans and tactics?
Okay, so a Google search, just brand persona, you get templates, but it's not about the templates. It's about the data that goes on the templates, right? And this is where I recommend the book Testing Business Ideas, because you have a lot of experiments there that you can use to gather information about your user. The persona, like I said, is a fictional representation. Fictional in the sense that the person you're writing is not real, but the attributes are real in the sense that they are insights that you've gathered from interviewing, interacting with actual users. So you want to launch a new shoe brand, right? You get your template, and the template has where you field name, age, all those things, motivations, behaviors, and all of that. You don't just go start feeling from your head, because your head is not the market, your mind is not the market. How you imagine the market to be is not how the market is. You go to the market, you go to the person that you're going to share, the person you assume to be the ideal customer for your shoe. You have specific kinds of questions, and there are tools on the internet that can help you with the kind of questions to ask to be able to help you get data for that template. You ask them, okay, it's a shoe brand. What kind of shoes do you buy? How much do you spend on your shoes? Tell me what are they? What is it? When you buy a shoe, what do you expect your shoe to do for you? What are the challenges you have with buying shoes or wearing shoes? What do you expect from a shoe? All these kind of things. When you've done that, you've done like 10 users, okay? You now collate that data together. You begin to do things like something called affinity mapping, grouping similar statements together, okay? People are saying this, you group it. People are saying this, you group. From there, you can now begin to analyze and then assume, okay, from there, say, the users we interviewed, they are between the ages of this. These are the hobby areas. You create a fictional character. These are the behaviors, these are the expectations, this is what they're looking at, this is what they're looking at. So that fictional character now is now like a coalition or some kind of assemblage of all these other people that you've interviewed. You've brought them together to build this ideal character profile. All right, that now is your persona. So what you're doing now, because obviously people are going to have slight differences, so your persona just covers all of those slight differences and just have one model person. Let me use a Christian analogy. We're all one in Christ Jesus, right? But there are different versions of our oneness. I'm black, some people are white, some people have partial skin discoloration, people are tall, some people are short. But the real persona is Jesus. I don't know if you grab what I'm saying. So the same way too, your ideal persona, okay, is a collection of all these other personas together. And you can have multiple personas actually, because that will be based on the different pain points that you identify. So you can interview people and discover that there are three different kinds of pains, okay, and these are not different, and they apply to different people. You get, so you can build 3 different personas out of those pain points.
All right, thank you so much. So my final question I have is this. So let's say, for example, a new user, let's say a new entrepreneur, someone who just came up with an idea, a beautiful idea, follows this 10-step process that you've mentioned in this in the call of this class, and but then now he wants to start implementing. He has done the product, he has done his USP, he has drafted out his brand persona, but he is on a tight budget. He does not have, like, exhaustive funds or resources to market on multiple channels, like, the SEO, the digital marketing. And don't forget that most of these marketing channels have prices, they have costs attached to it. And if you check it, even if you want to run a digital ads platform, you will actually spend money. Now, this person has an idea, he has a dream, he has something he wants to build. But the problem is he does not have the money to market on these big platforms. And he's an early stage businessman. How is he going to reach out to his target audience, coupled with the fact that, and which channel will he adopt as a young business startup owner or as a young business idea person? Like, what platform can such person leverage using these 10 steps that I've been explaining in this class to get to the target audience they need to give them the result and traction that they're looking for, knowing fully well, like you mentioned in the class, that a typical user in Instagram, the way you will target a user on Instagram is different from the way you target someone on Facebook, is different from LinkedIn, is different. Every platform have their categorization use case in terms of how they are categorized and how they are approached. So now you want to approach, say, one of these platforms. Now maybe your target audience is there. Now you know that the quickest way to reach them is to advertise to them, but you do not have funds, you don't have that resources, because you spent a lot of money on your research, on your target audience, on your brand persona, putting this together. Now you've set everything up, but you want to reach out to them. Which platform or which channel is best to reach out to customer as a newbie startup?
Okay, so let me first start by saying this, that if you don't have money to do a business, please don't do the business. Take time and build capital, because you're going to spend money to do a lot of things: experimentation, testing, validation, building, all of that stuff. You've got to spend money. When you've developed your plan, you don't develop your plan. That's why I say that one of the things that a business, a go-to-market strategy allows you to do is to assess and secure resources. You can't say you want to do a plan that is above a budget, right? You have to do it within your constraints, within your resources, right? So if it's 10K that you have, design your go-to-market strategy around that 10K. That, it will force you. That's why I say, because it allows you, the benefits are that it allows you to stay focused. Okay, it allows you to niche down, to focus on a particular objective. You can't go spending 10K to expect 1 million followers. No, this is your budget. So you now begin to look at where can you reach, what can you do, what platform will be the cheapest. All those things have to be, they have to be taken into account. You're not just starting off and saying, I have a limited budget. No, that's not what a go-to-market strategy does. First thing, that's why I said earlier, right? What it helps you do is that you assess and secure the resources needed. So if I know that I'm picking Instagram channel, I need to check out what it costs to do an ad on Instagram, right? That also affects the goals and metrics I'll be setting. But I can't be putting 5K a day. I mean, I'm going to spend 10K, and then I expect my 10K to give me 100,000 users. That's impossible. That's being unrealistic. It's not a smart goal at all. So assess what are the resources you have on ground. Build your go-to-market strategy around those resources. No matter how small, you want to first get to certain levels. You want to first evaluate it at a particular level. When you have more resources, you take it to the next level. When you have more resources, take it to the next level. Ideally, when you start any business, you need to first check if the thing is even viable before you even begin to go into all these other things. Test it. If it's not going to be viable, drop it. Or pivot it until you find something viable. Then you can now go to the next phase. Gradually. Because if you don't, like, how you going to run future experiments? That's why when we talk about product market fit, we talk about why it is important that people are willing to pay for your business, because it is that funding, that capital that you're getting from selling, that you can now use to even build something better and improve that product or service outside of external funding. But with the product market fit, you're sure to you'll increase your chances of getting this external funding from investors. That's the proof that you need to even get the funding.
Okay, so to further summarize what you've said, so what you are saying in essence is, if you're an early stage startup business owner and you're just launching out, you're just starting out, you've done the brand persona, you've done it all, and you still, so the cheapest way to go about this is work with your budget. Start with one channel, then from one channel scale up to 2 channels, then from 2 channels scale up to 3 channels. As your revenue and resources grow, the number of channels in which you market and sell your product also would grow. That's what you're saying.
Yes, but let's be careful that it's not about multiplying your channels, because you might find that it's just 2 that you need, and that's what you do. So all you do is just scale up your efforts on those particular channels. But yeah, what you said, yeah, you got it. Perfect.
Okay, so my final question. So say, for example, now you've identified the problem. You've identified the solution that you're going to adopt to solve that problem. You've done your market research as a startup person. You've checked what is obtainable. You've done everything literally possible. You have the resources to pull this off. And then you go into the market and discover that the technology or the funds needed to establish the solution is outrageously on the high side. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Say, for example, now.
Well, hold on. That's a mistake from the get-go. You can't. If you're discovering that the technology, you didn't do your business model well, because your business model addresses 3 important aspects: the feasibility of your business, the viability of your business, and the desirability of your business. So because that's a feasibility thing, right? Does the technology exist, or can you even afford it to be able to make the solution that you're providing? So when you get to, you have done all in fact, you won't even get to market fit. This is like the fundamental part. If there's no technology, you can't even build a solution to even talk about validating it. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, say for example, the technology is available, the visibility and the desirability is available, but the funds to build that particular solution is not available. So
That's part of
how
the visibility.
would you, because you know that they have
Okay.
various pre-seed stage, they have early stage
Yeah.
angel investors, they have platforms that would invest in your idea. Just have the idea first, and they would
Yeah.
invest in the idea. Then you can use the funds to
To
build the
build
solution.
it.
Then you go and then you move up the ladder. But in a scenario where you're starting up an idea and the resources to build that idea, let's say for example, is huge. Let's say it's
Okay,
maybe
I get what you mean. Yeah.
$10K now on it, and you want to go the pre-seed stage. Now, how do you now package this idea with your go-to marketing strategy that you've taught to your investors, knowing fully well
Okay.
that your investors are more interested in, even as in the idea stage, they are more interested in your prototyping, and probably
Yeah.
the way you set things up is not as expected. It's like, say for example, you are building a car, a flying mobile, for example,
Okay.
and you've
Okay.
done MVP, which is the mobile can at least move on the ground.
Okay.
And you're saying that, okay, you're telling your investors that if you can give me this funding, I will make the car to fly, which is your full solution. That's using that as an example. So how do you now get the pre-seed investments that you need? And how then do you now scale the solution on a technology that you do not have the resources to build, assuming you don't get the funding that you need?
Okay.
What
So
will you do?
this is so
Do you go
like I
home and
say,
sleep?
there's a book, Testing Business Ideas, right? Testing Business Ideas. David J. Bland and Alex Osterwalder. Great book because it has experiments on even situations like this. You have an idea, right? Like I said, start with the problem. If you can identify the problem, there's experiments that you can use to identify problem, right? And then you can identify the people that would need the flying car. Let's assume it's a flying car, right? You can't build a flying car, but you can design a 3D version of a flying car. You can do a digital design on a computer-aided design platform, or you can do something. You can come up with a prototype. You can come up with a mini prototype, right? Okay,
Good.
and then so you can do that. Put it up on something. There's this crowdfunding platforms. Okay,
Crowdfunding platform. Yeah.
if people now, because you've done the sketch, you've done the design, you've listed the value propositions, all that stuff. If you put it on a crowdfunding platform and then people one donate or make some type of investment, okay, on that project, you're validating it. Do you understand? The strongest level of validation now is somebody does a pre-order. Okay, it's going to cost you 15K USD to make one car, and then you talk about the technology is on ground, is desirable. You've said use cases about it. You get in your 3D format how it works, blah blah blah, and all of that, and then you're now this thing. Maybe you've not even done an actual test. Maybe you've done a simulation, right? Good. Yes, there are people that would be, they call them early adopters, right? So they might be willing, who are investors, they might be willing to fund you to get it from beta test, right, to get your first prototype on the ground. Bam. But the way you can test is through the 3D designs, all those kind of things, put those kind of things in place. It depends on, now, if you think about value now, like I said, that's a level of validation. It's not the highest level. It doesn't mean that thing is going to be successful, right? But at least you're able to validate it and get the resources to get it to the next level. I don't know if you get me. So as you build it and as you find a solution and it becomes better and better, you can now have a more realistic solution to present. So you started with a 3D design, a sketch. You present it. There are people that are going to like, oh, they see the future in this. They like this. Okay, this, they can see use cases where this can be used. The use cases are validated. Bam. You get the funding you need. You go to the next level. Bam. You do a prototype. You test it. You actually do this. You take it again. You pitch it on a crowdfunding platform and so forth and so on. You get the funding you need. You get to them. Now, if people don't fund it, that clearly tells you that there's no need. It's not because you say there's a need that there's a need. It's not because you say it's valuable that it's valuable. No, it's because because there's something called a supplier experiment where you supplier interviews, right? where you can actually pitch suppliers, and if the supplier tells you that this thing, it means that it can be built. If not, it can't. You have to also test with your investors, right? If they tell you they're not going to fund it, it means that they don't see value in it. They don't see the use case in it. And that is all about desirability. If your solution is not desirable, it can be functional, but because it's not desirable, nobody puts money in it. Nobody wants to buy it. Nobody wants to invest in it. I don't know if you get. So it's not about functional. That's why it's about feasibility, but desirability and viability. Functional is just there. If it's not desirable, nobody's going to use it. If it's not feasible, nobody can build it. If it's not viable, nobody's going to pay for it.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I guess that will be all. So from our viewers, I don't know if anybody has any question as we'll be wrapping up this session about now. So anybody with any question? Okay, so I guess there are no questions for now. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for being at this meeting. It was really a very impactful one. Personally, I believe that those who were online have actually learned a thing or two from most of what we've had today. So thank you so much, Mr. Patrick. Thank you so much for coming here today. We really appreciate it, and we hope that we could have a bigger and a more robust conference in the nearest future, where we'll have a big location where we'll have an in-person audience, and then we'll have a lot of people streaming in online and having a physical audience. So thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say as we wrap up?
No, I just say thank you very much for the privilege to teach on this space. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you guys in subsequent videos in the next lectures or in the next class coming up in the nearest future. So thank you so much, guys. We look forward to seeing you again in our subsequent videos. Do have a wonderful day. Thank you, Patrick, for coming. We'll see you some other time. Take care.